Chairman Cormer invites CEOs of Discord, Steam, Twitch, and Reddit to testify on radicalization of online forum users. And then we have another one. U.S. panel asks online forum CEOs to testify after Charlie Kirk assassination. This is happening tomorrow.
The House Oversight Committee has called the CEOs of several online forums to testify on Capitol Hill next month in the aftermath of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I asked the chairman of that panel, Republican Congressman James Comer of Kentucky, about this and a lot more. Here's part of our conversation. Mr. Chairman, good to see you. Today, you called the CEOs of Reddit, Discord, Steam, and Twitch before the committee.
So it's 10 a.m., so I'm going to have to wake up. I have to wake up early. That's fine. I'll do it. I mean, like what? I mean, I'm not a bitch. You just get up early and do it. Yeah, I'll be live to watch this for sure.
What do you want to hear?
Absolutely.
And what role, if any, do you believe these four platforms play in elevating or giving visibility to rhetoric that leads to or inspires violence?
We don't know that they are part of the problem, but we have a lot of questions.
Oh, I do. They are. They're a big part of the problem. I could have told you that they should have had me up to testify. I'd have gone up there.
And several members of the Oversight Committee who are a lot more knowledgeable about those platforms than I was prior to the Charlie Kirk assassination.
Steam users?
Expressed concern
No, Steam's not that bad.
They would like to question them. There seems to be a pattern emerging from that's the form of communication of choice by some of the crimes, the high-profile crimes that have been committed lately, especially
Reddit
by
and
the
Discord.
younger perpetrators. So we have
also like they should talk about Twitter as well. Like Twitter has a lot of really bad extremism also, and Twitter's a massive platform. Like it's way bigger than Twitch, for example. And I don't know why they don't bring in like more like awareness or accountability for Twitter. Twitter isn't innocent? Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, like, in my opinion, I think they need to do a much better job getting rid of bad actors. Like Elon Musk, yeah, I don't know why. Like, I get his perspective on, like, freedom of speech, but I think that, like, the people that are, like, advocating for, like, violence and to, like, kill people, I think they need to just get rid of it. Like, if anybody's posting stuff like that, I think you should get perma'd. Like, the only time that I think advocating for violence is okay is if it's in a self-defense situation or you're trying to, like, survive for your life. Other than that, no, you shouldn't be saying that shit at all.
Questions about that, and hopefully sometimes
Elon's a friend to the current admin. That's why. That's a great argument, but Blue Sky isn't being called in, and neither is YouTube. So I don't think that the political, alignment argument works very well. I think that it's a good thing to consider, but I don't think that like you can come to that conclusion.
It's not. We don't have these hearings necessarily to grill or embarrass the witnesses, but maybe to find solutions to the problems, because there are a lot of people that are concerned that this
you're not going to find a solution unless you legislate it, because the solutions take money, and these companies are doing it for money. They don't solve these problems because it's expensive to solve the problems. It costs them money, time, and resources to solve the problems, so they ignore them. So if you want them to solve this issue, you need to make it a law or some sort of regulation or something like that.
Pattern. Maybe because of some form of business model that they may have.
Meaning, if I understand you correctly, Mr. Chairman, some of your committee members fear or have come to believe that communications on these platforms feel to a younger cohort in our country less visible, and so they're more comfortable discussing things that they are maybe contemplating?
Well,
exactly. Yeah, of course, people talk about shit online they wouldn't say in real life. I mean, it's common sense. Duh.
Again, the pattern that this source of communication, this form of communication was used by in at least 3 of the last 4 high-profile crimes. And there are members that have concerns that there could be, some type of behavior that could be either detected prior. I don't know how that would
It's fucking
work.
What do you mean you don't know how? Like, you just have a fucking bot and you just file the reports, you listen to the reports. It's easy. I mean, do you really think that an AI chatbot can't parse out people's conversations? Of course it can. Will it have false positives? Of course it will. That's why you have a human evaluate it after the chatbot creates a list of possibilities. But yeah, this is easy to do. Like, what do you mean? You can't figure this out?
They have
Right.
some specific questions. And then as far as, is there a reason that these criminals have started using that
Where was
platform?
all this injury when George Floyd was killed? Breonna Taylor, Tamir Mice, or Trayvon Martin? Well, I mean, George Floyd, they burned down like 10 cities over George Floyd. Breonna Taylor, I feel like people are still talking about her with the shirts and everything. And also, like, I think that a lot of those cases, Trayvon Martin, well, Breonna Taylor and George Floyd specifically, I think were really good. Like, one of the good things that came out of a lot of the protest and anger about those two events is the proliferation of body cams. So I actually think that those things have, in some cases, had a net positive. Like, I'm a big fan of body cams.
Is there some type of, marketing or some type of lure that lures them in and maybe brings people together that communicate that may not be planning things in the best interest of the American people?
Several administration
about killing
officials
people, right?
have discussed crackdowns on what they have described in public. This includes the Vice President, J.D. Vance.
Yeah.
Leftist groups or non-governmental organizations that they contend do things to foment violence in our country of a political nature.
It's obvious they do that. It's
Is the
obvious.
committee going to be involved in inquiries along those lines?
I don't know. It's been announced that
If they put me in charge of this, I'll get rid of it in about a year. Yeah, I probably it'd take me about a year to get rid of all this stuff, put everybody in jail. But by the end of it, this would be done. This would be totally resolved.
Department of Justice is looking into something along those lines. I know that there are
6 months?
several people,
It'll take a
including
while.
Chip Roy, that have written a letter asking Speaker Johnson to form a select committee on that.
Yeah.
But there's not been anything from our committee standpoint or from the leadership standpoint that's directed us on the oversight committee to do anything.
Do you share those concerns, and might you organize the committee in that direction?
Well, we know that there's a lot of funding of these indivisible groups. There are a lot of liberal groups. The last 4 of the
You
last
tell me
6
you can't figure out where the money's coming from? You can't figure it out?
public events I had protesters outside, and they were part of an indivisible group that's a subsidiary of a Soros-funded group. And there's concern, I guess, among some. I'm not that worried about the protesters or the organized things, but after the
It's about the violent people.
I guess
that's
after
the issue.
the Kirk
That's the problem.
assassination, there's some members that feel are there some of these left-wing groups trying to get members to go to things outside in public?
I think that there are a lot of online groups that try to gas up members of their group to go out and exercise violent alternatives to, like legal alternatives. I think that is what happens.
Where they can be sitting ducks and things like that. I don't think that, but there are always
You don't think that?
Groups such as, I'll give you some examples. Antifa is a great example. I think Antifa tries to build this stuff up. I think that a lot of like random Facebook groups do this too. I think that really it's just something that happens on the internet in general, is that you have people that try to create a radicalized environment and then hopefully spawn somebody who takes that radical mindset into reality. And that's what I think really happens. Reddit, look at all the remember there was that one subreddit, there was like a 30,000 upvoted post about I hope he's next, and it's like a picture of this is like the day after Charlie Kirk got killed, it's a picture of me. And there's like other people that are like that too. Like all of that stuff should have been just shut down immediately, right? And eventually, I mean, to Reddit's credit, they did eventually shut it down. But I do think that it does happen. And like you want some examples, I'm giving you some examples.
I don't think that, but I do think that there are a lot of NGOs that are being funded by left-wing groups that are creating havoc. I mean, they're trying to disrupt meetings. The protesters.
Listening to these fucking boomers figuring this shit out is like watching a 5-year-old try to figure out how to put his shoe on. Yeah.
At my meeting in Paducah, Kentucky, when they left, when the crowd left, they were getting up in their face and things like that. So that's not. That crosses the line of free speech.
Meaning
It's
it becomes,
violent,
it
aggressive
becomes
behavior.
physical confrontation.
Obviously it's physical. Yeah, I mean, of course.
But as a baseline threshold matter, protest in this country, however it's funded, protected by the First Amendment,
It's legal.
protected by the Oversight Committee, respected as a form of political communication in this country.
It is, as long as there's no violence.
As long as there's no violence. That's an absolute benchmark for you in the committee.
Sure.
Okay. Yesterday, the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, said, or was a podcast utterance was put across the media in which she said hate speech will be prosecuted. And there was tremendous blow.
They got to get rid of her. They do. They got to get rid of her. Like I don't know. I don't know how she's still around. I'm so tired of her.
Back among conservatives saying that's not permissible in this country. Were you alarmed by those remarks?
Well, I don't know. You know, sometimes people say things and they don't come out the way they mean. Sometimes the media's taking them out of context.
He said she dumb as fuck. Yeah, true. That's what I was thinking,
I think
too.
Pam Bondi, certainly it's a fair question to ask her what she meant by that. But I do think that there's a concern about the increased political temperature in America and the result being more violence. Many of us believe that the majority of the last several mass shootings and high-profile crimes have been committed by people that are more on the liberal end of this political spectrum than conservatives. Now, some of the media
it shouldn't matter. I think that the majority of the people are liberal too, but implementing restrictions, rules, and a degree of oversight on companies that allow these groups to fester would affect right-wing groups the same as it would affect left-wing groups. It's bad because of the violence. It's not bad because it's a liberal. It's not like if a conservative did this, it would be good. This is something that's bad just categorically. It's bad by its own nature because it's killing people for political opinions. So really, I mean, yes, you can play the blame game of who's at fault more. I think it's mainly liberals that are advocating for violence. Like, you know, here's a good example, right? That retard that went and shot all those people in the Mormon church. You didn't have conservatives justifying that. You've had sometimes like people made jokes about Nancy Pelosi's wife or something, which was also disgusting. But it's much more common that whenever there is any sort of left-wing violence, it seems that there is an entire apparatus on the internet that rationalizes it and justifies it. That's the big problem. That's where we really have the issues.
Agree with that, but
her wife, her husband, whatever.
And I'll say that I'm not just blaming the left. Both parties, both sides can share blame for increased political rhetoric. But at the end of the day, I think...
And there are victims on both sides.
There are victims on both sides.
Absolutely.
Minnesota legislatures, Governor Shapiro in Pennsylvania, Speaker Pelosi's husband. I mean, there are victims on both sides.
Of course.
You acknowledge that.
This is a universal problem that affects everybody, and it is it's bad for everybody.
Okay. But it is true that hate speech is not prosecutable in this country.
Oh, God.
It's protected by the First Amendment, repugnant though it may be. You believe that?
I do. I would assume that Pam Bondi believes that hate speech that is directed towards an end goal of violence or criminal behavior would be prosecuted. That's what I would assume she would do. Yeah, duh. But you would have to ask her that.
But that's not because of hate speech.
Welcome back to The Takeout. Earlier today on Capitol Hill, I discussed the ongoing Epstein investigation and all the controversy.
This is some other stuff. And so anyway, let's go back. Yeah, Epstein. Yeah, they're gonna release these files tomorrow, guys, for sure. But anyway, yes, I do absolutely think that they should call in all of these social media websites and have them testify why there's so much extremism and violent rhetoric on their platform and why there's people making calls for violence. Like, even you go to TikTok comments and there's people that were like, you know, lamenting the fact that they can't kidnap and rape girls. Like, it's disgusting. It's disgusting behavior. It's disgusting language. And I think it crosses over. Like it's beyond the threshold of free speech. No, really. Like TikTok's the worst? No, I'm being serious. I've read the comments. I see videos on there. That's it. Please stream this. I'm hyped. Yeah, so this is happening tomorrow. I forgot all about this. I didn't realize it's October 7th today, which logically would mean that October 8th would come after that. So, yeah. Why don't they ask you guys what the problem is and call you in instead of the CEO who will just try to hide it? I mean, as I said, if Congress wants me to testify, I would have no problem. I could fly up there for a day, and as long as I could live stream it, I would do it, right? I mean, maybe I can't bring the camera into the fucking building, but, you know, as long as I would do it. Even if I have to do it in like a day, I would still do it. And because I view this, and this is, and I really believe this, I think that this is a existential legitimate, real problem in the country. And I think that insight from people like me, people that have been on the internet for a long time, people that make content on the internet, I think that more people like me need to speak out about it. They do. And that's it.